Well, it looks like we are live streaming here. We've got a few minutes to go before we actually start. So let me get the countdown going here. Whoops, that's not right. A little bit of music, see if we can get that going. And we've got about 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes. Have a really good session today. We're going to slow it down a little bit and walk through setups. Walk through the setups of all the features that I've been explaining to you so far in the last few weeks. have about 3 minutes before we start up. 3 minutes to start up. Remember, you can always get a hold of me by sending an email to fxopabert@gmail.com and request information about the things that I'm showing you on these sessions. About 2 minutes to go. We'll be streaming live in this Nailing FX session where I will show you simplified FX trading techniques. All right, so here we are at our starting moment in time. Let's get right to it. All right, today I'm broadcasting as usually Wednesday morning, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. in Vietnam. And if you're in London, it's about 4 a.m. there, and it's 11 p.m. Tuesday night in New York. All right, so I'm coming to you from the Pegasus Plaza in downtown Bien Hoa Dong Nai province in Vietnam. Get a hold of me anytime at fxopabert@gmail.com, and let's get right into it. Here is the schedule for the rest of this month. Today, the 9th, we're streaming on YouTube. For the rest of this month, every Wednesday, the 16th, 23rd, and 30th, I'll be streaming on FX Street. So mark your calendars. Make sure that you go to tradewithufos.com/OPA. Sign up. It's free. Make sure you see the schedule and get it put into your address book. All right, so let's get into the required disclaimer. The following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradedictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide, and we do not provide any kind of direction to provide any indication of prediction or actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive by using our products. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we're going to do today. In today's session of Nailing FX, we are going to do a quick review of channel trading, channel trade analysis. I'll look at the H1 H4 trade channel. We'll take a quick review of the multiple time frame 2 trading channels. There was already an introduction to the multiple time frame 3 channel, and we're going to correlate all of this together. So here is the multiple channel. Oh, this looks like my 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 guide from last week. So a little bit of technical difficulty here somehow. All right, so in the H1 H4 channel, this is where we have two channels, the larger time frame channel, the H4 channel, and the H1 channel superimposed on it. And in this case, we also have the zebra alerts put on here so you can see the alerts. And what we're looking for when these two channels are superimposed on each other is we are looking for the price action to exceed the H1 channel or go into the top band of the H1 and simultaneously also hit into the top band of the H4. So that gives us a better indication of what price might be doing. Okay, so that's something that we want to be looking at. All right, so that's just basically how we do it. And again, if we get an alert in that area, that's an additional bonus that we get to help us to make a decision. All right. So the other thing that we can do is rather than superimpose one channel over another, what we can do is we can look at two channels or two charts and two different channels side by side. And in this case, I have the M1 and this was the M5. Normally, my rule is 3 to 5, 3 to 5. That means that if I'm going up and I'm looking for the higher time frame to compare, I will take the lower time frame and multiply it by 3, 4, and 5 and find out which time frame works best. So if I'm looking at the 1 minute, multiply 1 minute times 3. That's a 3 minute. We don't have a 3 minute chart readily available on the MT4. So I multiplied by 4. 4 minutes not available. 5. 5 minute is there. So I get the 1 by 5. And I do the same thing going up from the 5 minute. 5 times 3 is 15. It's available. That's what I take. So then I take the 15, multiply that by 3. That's 45. Not what I want. 15 times 4, 60. That's the 1 hour. And you can see the progression. Now, if I'm starting in a higher time frame and moving back, I just do the division. So the rule is finding higher or lower time frames to use. You multiply or divide 3 to 5. Okay? And then use the standards that are available to you. So all we're doing here is seeing two charts in two different time frames to help us get a better idea of what's going on. Okay, here we did a quick review of what the channels could look like, and I'm going to get into how we determine and actually grade the trend, the channel trend. I like using the channel trend rather than the price trend because I think the channel trend gives us a little more accuracy in helping us determine which way price is going to move. So we'll get into that. So we have a downtrend, we have flat trends, we have uptrends, we have contracting trends or contracting channel where the upper band is dropping and the lower band is rising. Okay, so that's contracting. And so we have to understand when we have some contraction, what might price action do historically? Again, remember, nothing is ever guaranteed, but we need to have some point of reference. All right, so then we have the expanding channel. Okay, here's the expanding channel when the upper band is rising and the lower band is dropping. Again, what happens? What can we expect? What's the anticipation of the price action in the channel? Okay, so in a down channel, normally the better trade will be a short when the alert displays in the top channel band and we would target the bottom band. In an up channel, we do the opposite. In a down channel, if an alert displays in the bottom band, then the confirmation would indicate a possible trend reversal. All right, so, and we have vice versa. So we'll go through those in detail in just a bit. In flat, contracting, and expanding channels, it's best to monitor and manage between upper and lower bands. Okay, so there's a little bit of confusion. There's always a little bit of problem there. Here is the multiple time frame 3-channel, 3-chart channel. Okay, so now instead of just looking at 2, we are looking at 3. So here's our daily. You can see here's the daily display. Here is the 4-hour. So we took the day, 24 hours, and we divided it by 3. That didn't help us. Divided by 4, and we then divided by 5. The closest thing that we could come to was the 4 hours. So that's why we go daily 4 hour and then down to the 1 hour when we divided the 4 hour by 4. Remember, using the 3 by 5 rule. And so what we're looking at here is the daily is telling us that there is a upward movement. The 4 hour is telling us upward movement, and the 1 hour is telling us upward movement. And we're seeing that we are at the top of the channel in all three cases. We are looking for confirmations, but because we're at the top of the channel that is rising, okay, we can anticipate that at this point in time, this is likely to be a pullback or retracement rather than some kind of trend reversal, because we don't have a clear movement in the opposite direction. All right, so here, and again, we always try to correlate with trading view. So if we have a 1 hour chart that we're looking at here, and this is the upper band, we are going to try to correlate this upper band with a trading view UFO, unfilled order zone here, so the sell zone here and the buy zone down below. So we try to do those correlations in that. All right, so let's go right into it. Now, a lot of times what I've seen in some of the messages is folks have asked me to walk through the actual setup, what I do when I am getting ready to look for a trade. So when I'm hunting for a trade. Well, the first thing that I am doing is I have a MT4 profile. I trade off the MT4 chart. And so what I do is I look at the majors. So I've got 8 majors here. Now I've added the US Singapore dollar since the Singapore dollar has become a factor in the Asian market. Okay, the Singapore dollar is kind of like the Swiss or the yen. The yen doesn't indicate what's price movement in the Asian market as well as the Singapore dollar does now. So we have the Singapore dollar, we have the yen, and we have the Swiss. Those were always considered to be safe haven type of, or the Swiss and the yen, safe haven, US dollar, obviously. But why do I have 8 charts here? This gives me a real easy, you notice all 8 charts are set up to be dailies. Okay, they're daily charts. Okay, now you see the top row, Euro USD. So the USD is in the counter position of that symbol. Okay, Euro is in the base position of that symbol. Okay, and so what I'm seeing here is the euro. Remember, charts always represent what the base currency is doing. So if I see a chart that is dropping, a trend that is dropping, that would be the base currency is dropping. So in this case, I do a quick analysis of what's the overall picture of the US dollar, because the US dollar is one of the primary currencies in FX. Okay, it's probably the top one at this point. So the US dollar is dropping. Okay, why? Because I see the euro rising here, and I'm looking at the channel. Here I can see again the US is dropping because the pound is rising. I can see here that the US is again dropping because the pound or the Aussie is rising. It's likewise the US is weak against the New Zealand dollar, and the New Zealand dollar and Aussie usually correlate to some degree. All right. Now I look down here and I see that the US is in the base position, and I see the base position, the US is dropping. Here in the Swiss, dropping. US in the yen, again, looks like it's dropping. And in the Singapore dollar, or the US compared to the Singapore dollar, US in the base is dropping. So what does that tell me? First of all, it tells me that overall, at this point in time, the US dollar is weak against all of the major currencies. The dollar is weak against all of the major currencies. Now, if I want to get into more detail in terms of what is the trend at any point in time, let's go ahead and do a channel trend analysis. Okay, channel trend analysis. Now, very soon I will have available for those of you that trade in MT4. I will have some. I am having the indicator that will put on the trend. Put the channel on your chart. So make sure you're asking for that, and that'll be coming soon. So let me go ahead and open this up. Okay. And what do I see? How do I evaluate the trend? Now, let me see if I can just go to this. All right. So what I'm doing is I put the cross here. The reason I've got this cross here kind of a little bit skewed is that I've got a synchronized cross here across all of my charts. But let's go ahead and take a look. So what I do is I put the cross here at the end of the channel. And then I look back from that end point and I look at what is the channel doing. Okay, the channel is rising, slightly rising. Then I do the same thing down here. Okay, and I can see that at the base of the channel, we definitely have a rising channel. So if I had done it back here at this point, you could see that the upper band of the channel was very strongly rising, as well was the lower band of the channel, which means that I really shouldn't consider anything other than going long in any position that I wanted to take, excuse me, based on daily. Now I can do the same thing. Let's go down to the 4 hour. All right. Now in the 4 hour, when I put my cross here at the end of the channel, all right, at the band, the top band right there, the extreme, the top band, and I look to the left, I can see that that channel is dropping. It's rolling down. It's rolling down. It was coming up, and now it's starting to roll down. And then I do the same thing down here, and I can see that again, slightly rolling down. So this tells me that in the 4 hour, I have a channel trend that is slightly dropping. It's slightly dropping. Okay, it's not very strong to the downside, but it is to the downside. So if I'm going to take a trade, I would likely want to see price moving down slightly. Okay, but I'm already in the lower band here, so it would be interesting to see what would happen. All right, so let's go ahead and go do one more. Let's go to the hourly, and what do I see in the hourly? Okay, so the hourly is definitely telling me price is dropping, as well as looking at the lower band. I can see, look back, and I can see that the lower band is dropping. And I'm looking at this green line here, right? Green line dropping. Up here, I'm looking at this red line. The red line is dropping. Those are the bands, okay, within the channel, okay. I can also take a look at the center band, and the center band gives me a very clear perspective that price is dropping. And so price is coming down, and it's coming down, or it's come down into the lower band. So if it goes into a lower band or into the upper band, as you can see here, normally what we would see is a movement back to the other side. So price will oscillate from a high into a low. Okay, you can see here we started to see the price. This still showed high. This at this point was showing me a little bit down. So I have to decide if I'm going to take a trade, which direction do I want to take a trade. And so what we do is we look at the higher time frames to see, and then we would go to the lower time frames to actually try to get into a trade that is in congruence with the higher time frames. All right, so how do I now find a possible trade? Do I just look at this and say, oh, let me see if it's going here? Going long would be a possibility because it's gone to an extreme, and I'm only looking at one time frame. Remember, if I'm looking at two time frames simultaneously with two charts or three charts, or the overlay of two charts of one channel behind another, I've got more information. So let's just take a look here and see if I have nothing more than the channel and price moving down into this area as it did here. And when I look at what's the channel trend, I can see that I was still in a very strong downward trend. So that means that if I take a position here, I would want to be looking at going to the middle of the channel as a retracement, not anticipating that price is going to get all the way across, right? So as you can see, that's exactly what it did. It went into the middle area, then dropped back down here, middle area, dropped back down. And as it's doing that, you can see the slope, the steepness of the channel is changing, okay, is changing. And the slope is getting smaller or weaker, if you will, which kind of tells me that we are coming to a point where price may actually want to go to the other side of the channel. At this point, I'm still looking at possibly trading into the center band, all right? So that's just looking at this. Let me go ahead and go back to a daily. I like doing the daily because a lot of times the daily you can just set them up and leave them and walk away and see what's coming. All right, so let's go ahead and start to build on this channel. Now, I told you that I start out by looking at what's the overall. So the dollar is weak overall, okay? So in any major that the dollar is the base currency, I would probably be looking for a selling opportunity. I'd want more or less a selling opportunity, okay? If I am looking at any of the majors that are in here, and I try to trade those, I'd be looking more for a buying opportunity in these majors where the dollar is the counter currency. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go to our Euro USD, and we're looking at the daily. And so I'm going to go ahead and let's add a indicator here that I've got. So I'm going to go ahead and add the alert. Okay. So there's the alert, zebra alert. Okay. And this looks back 300 periods, 7 points, just as a reference so that I can put in stops and things like that. So let's go ahead and say okay. And so here's what I see. Now, several days ago, let's take a look today. This is Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, last Wednesday, and Tuesday. So last Wednesday, I had a confirmation, right? So when I get an alert, okay, I need to confirm that that alert is going to be valid. I need a confirmation. So here's what I saw here. Now, this is just the alerts, eyeball confirmation. We know that I need to get a close below the low of the alert day. Now, nice thing that I've already done is I have already created, and let's go ahead and take this indicator off. Let me delete that. And I've created the alert with confirmation. So there you see now I've got an alert and a confirmation. Wow. However, when I look at the channel trend on the daily, I see what? I see that we have a slight upward in the upper channel and a strong up in the lower channel, okay? So what that's telling me is that if I want to take this particular trade on the close of the confirmation, I would be wanting to trade down into the center channel. And I could measure from here to here. And so that would be 180 pip stop. And then I come down here and see that at the bottom of that channel is also approximately 180. So I would take a 1-to-1 setup. However, when I trade alerts on a daily, now listen very closely, alerts on a daily, I'm confident that from the close of the confirmation, when I'm trading with the trend, I am very likely to see a movement of 50 pips or better. If I'm on the daily and trading the confirmation of an alert, okay, counter the channel trend, I am very likely to see a pip movement of 30 pips or better. Okay, so knowing that information, even though I start out with a 1-to-1 of 180 pips of stop, and that's a big stop, you need to either have a really big account or you have to trade minis or micros so that your account can justify that. All right. So 180 pip stop on a daily chart isn't really a lot. Okay, when you're talking about daily, okay? And you're not going to be monitoring and managing this moment by moment. Okay, you're going to be setting this up and basically walking away from it. But you do need to come back on a regular basis and take a quick peek. And what I would do is, as soon as I see that price has moved 50 pips or better, okay, 50 pips or better, I would go to a free trade, a 5 pip free trade, move my stop so I'm no longer risking 180 pips, move my stop so that I am in a free trade for 5 pips. Not a lot, but a very safe way to trade. Do I miss some big moves because of that? Sure. So what? There's always another trade coming. So don't worry about it. There's always another trade coming. So that was the opportunity there. And had I taken that trade, let's take a quick look. It actually ran down 75 pips and then pulled back to the entry, which would have stopped me out at 5 pips. Okay. The other thing is, if you are doing this 1-to-1, go ahead and wait for price to move in your direction halfway to the target, and then go to a free trade. So you have that alternative, okay? Wait for 50 pips. Once it's gone 50 pips or better, the 50 pips is your kind of guide. You move to a free trade. Or you have another alternative. Wait for price to move halfway to your target and then go to the free trade. Another opportunity, another thing that you can do is you can just go ahead and lock in the 50 pips and move your stop loss to 50 and just go with that. I mean, it's up to you. Just take the 50 pips off the table and be happy with it. Even though you had a target of 180, that's not a big deal. So if you're happy with, if you feel good about taking 50 pips, and you're not going to cry with, oh my gosh, I missed the whole blah, 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 blah. No. Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and put money in our pocket. It's in your account. It's your money, right? That's the way I feel. When it's in my account, it's my money. All right, so now we are looking at this chart. I'm going to open it up a little bit and let's go ahead and see how this would have correlated with the trading view chart. So what I'm going to do is move this a little bit. Whoops, come on. There we go. Take this over about halfway. Bring it up. And I have got trading view set up here. Bring this over. All right, so here we see the two charts together. All right. Remember this alert indicator, the alert indicator is the same as the auto phase indicator in TradingView. And you can request, once you've signed up with TradingView, you can register and get a free account. You can go to Tradedictive and request a authorization to apply the auto phase to your accounts. If you want to get the UFOs, there's a technique, there's methods for subscribing to those UFOs as well. All right, so let's take a look here. You can see here this auto phase matches this alert, and in TradingView the auto phase they don't disappear basically. In the MT4 version, I don't continue to leave them on the chart. They automatically adjust to the latest one. Okay. Now you can see here. All right, so we had this auto phase in this sell zone, the UFO, the unfilled orders, the unfilled sell orders here. And so here again, you can see that zone is the same as the daily band, high band of the channel. Okay. So we're correlating this high band with the auto phase and the UFO of the trading view. So we're seeing those things coming together here. And so we know that we get a confirmation here in TradingView. I can see I got a close below the low of the auto phase alert, right? And it's in this band now. This is a sell band, right? Okay, and now the auto phase tells me that I should be considering going down to this buy zone. And this buy zone, if I look at the number, is 16316. 16316. And if I go over here and look for, and I have to use my trusty magnifying glass because I can't see, 163, somewhere in this area in here, okay, which is just below, whoops, wait a minute, what was the top here? Actually 16268, 16268. 268 is close to 250, which would be a hard number, and not a very strong hard number, but a good hard number. Here we see 170. That is a definite hard number, and price is already moving towards that. So let's go ahead and find 17. Here's 17. There's 170 on the MT4 chart. And you see, from where we are now, if we target that, that would be about a 75 to 80 pip target from the current position. Okay, and what we're seeing is we are coming out of the sell zone. Unfortunately, 75 pip target is very little compared to where we would have to place our stop, since we have a sell zone right here and we have a sell zone right on top of it and another one. This could be considered pretty much all one sell zone, okay, which would make the stop similar to what we were looking at here. Whoops. Let me go ahead and see. We'd be looking at a 250 pip stop to make 75. Not a very good risk reward ratio, okay? Although it's a highly probable trade, but not a good risk reward ratio. Looking down here at the auto climate, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into what should be about 5. So at this point, it's saying, you know, this is just about ended. And just looking at the charts, we have a similar situation where we see this is just about ended. Okay, this is just about ended here. Okay, we've been down in this low area and popped up low and popped up low, popped up. Now maybe this is the rollover and it'll go down here, but so far it doesn't look good. I would hesitate to take that kind of a trade with that kind of risk. All right. So maybe there's a trade other than that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the US CAD. And again, this is a pulling back. This is a retracement trade that I can see here. Okay. Why? Very strong downward trend to the upper band. And if I can take a look, shallow, very shallow, actually flat. So the lower, it may be rolling up a little bit, but we still have a lot of strength here. And when I compare the slope of the upper channel to the lower channel, the upper channel is definitely providing more information. So let's do it by the numbers. Try this, okay? When I have a nice, strong, obvious slope, let's count that as and it's a downward, let's count that as -1. -1, okay? I'm assigning it a value of -1, okay? When I look down here and I see that this is very flat, okay? Very flat, just slightly rising, I'm going to give this a value of 0. So now I have overall a -1 channel trade. The best channel trades would be -2 or +2. Okay? And so With that information, I've got a -1. This is going to tell me again that I'm probably looking at going into the center band here. The center band is definitely showing me price action coming down, right? Coming down. So it doesn't have too far to go. So let's go ahead and see. This was the US CAD. Oops, come here, US CAD here. All right. So, all right, so this shows me I'm basically in the middle between a sell zone, UFO, unfilled order sells, and here. Well, guess what? When I look at my MT4, they pretty much are correlating, right? In the middle here and towards the middle of the band, I'm hitting into the middle band. Here I'm into the middle. So if this was to go up, I probably would be looking for a sell opportunity up here. If it was to go down, I'd be looking for a buying opportunity. And there are my zones. And so what does the auto climate tell me? The auto climate tells me that at this point in time, okay, on the daily chart, it's very likely that price is going to rise. And when I look at this here, the rising, it's got 4.97, call that 5, round it up 5. So for the next 5 days, I am likely to see a rising price. Coincidentally, right now, it's at 32, about 400, right? 32,400. And so we see the next hard number up here is 34. Now there's a 33 in here, obviously, which would be interesting. So right about here, whoops. So where's 33 over here? Get my magnifying glass. 32. So right about that level, close to the top of the middle band is where we're looking at movement. So if I measure that down to here, that's a 66 pip movement, okay, on the daily. But unfortunately, if I'm going to take that trade, I need to put my stop down here at 270, which again is way out of the alignment that we should be doing. Let's take a look. Remember, here's the auto phase. Here we need to go ahead and put on the 48 alert with confirmations. Okay, so you can see here was the alert, same alert here, okay, just above this buy zone, okay, and at that point, looking down here, this was still indicating there might be a selling opportunity. Here is the confirmation. Here's the confirmation, all right, which was this. Then we had a little bit of pullback back down, and what we saw was this pullback here, and maybe, well, we got this blue dot come in. It wasn't a big fat one. There is a trading with UFOs course that's being available. If you're signed up, you should be getting the emails telling you that there's a trading with UFOs for Forex course being taught soon by Andrew. And so you might want to take a quick look and see if that course is something that you'd want to get into. All right. So there is the correlation that we're looking for. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up these charts again and take a look to see if we can find a possible trade. Okay, we got the euro here. Let's keep this. All right, so we said nothing here, nothing here. We're late, could have been something. And let's take a look here. Whoops. We want to add okay, we added that here. Oh, okay. We are seeing here on the pound US, let's take a look at this one. All right. On the pound US, today, it appears that we're looking at a buy alert, which is okay because we are in the uptrend. The top is what? The top is zero. Okay, there's no real good trend at the top. It was going up, but now it's flat. Down here, we see the slope of that trend is still strong to the upside. So we have a +1 situation here, a +1 situation on this. However, we need to wait for this period to end today and then get a confirmation. All right, but let's go ahead and take a quick look at the pound US. Bring it up here and move it over. Let's take a look at the pound US here. Pound US for our correlation. I don't know where I got all these lines here. Delete. That's from something earlier. Delete. All right. So let's go and open this up a little bit. This looks interesting now. This looks rather interesting. So what are we doing here? Let's go ahead and take a look here. See, I have my alert just coming in here. Okay, we have not completed the day. Okay, and we are in this zone. Okay, we are in the zone. We have overlapping zones here. We have 3 overlapping buy zones here. So this means that price could continue to come down. Okay, do we have another zone on the bottom here? Yeah, we have a lot of buying. Okay, so we're right here at this zone. This is not the zone here. Okay, this zone, maybe it is. This zone goes to here. This zone goes from here to here. All right, so we have an opportunity. Now, my climate is still showing that we are looking at a downward movement for 6 periods, and this is a daily chart, so we're still looking at 6 days. So this is something that we want to be watching. We want to have a watch on this. We have a watch on the pound US so that we possibly can take a trade in this zone with a stop just below this zone and a target up here, okay, which would be very nice. Let's take a look and see what's happening. All right, so this would be the target. At this point, we would be looking at somewhere about a 200 pip target. 200 pip target. So we need to find out. This would be a really, really good one to watch in the next few days to see what is happening with the pound US. Okay, very, very good one to watch and see. There's really nothing we're going to do with this today. Nothing that we would do today. Okay. Now, what might happen is price could move back up since this was a very strong move down yesterday in the pound. Price could pull back into yesterday's move. You can see that we have kind of a little flat area just to the left here. So it could move into that area. That's the analysis. I mean, there's nothing we can do other than take a look and see what opportunities are available, if any. Okay. And so let's go ahead and bring this out and see if there's anything else that might be interesting. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Whoops. I'll open this up. So this is the Aussie US. On the daily chart, this is pretty flat. That would be a 0 and a +1. So this is a 1. Looking for it to come to the upside from the center. Let's see if we have any alerts. Okay, we had an alert up here, confirmation here, and a move from there down into this center channel, which is nice. Okay, so this was several days ago, but let me open it up. And here you see that we had an alert. And if I measure, that was about 110 pip stop with a target down here of about 140 pips, which we would have met very easily. So it was a better than one-to-one trade setup on the Aussie USD just a few days ago, last week. Okay. So that would have been a nice trade to take. And we would have seen that price up here was starting to roll down a little bit. It was fairly flat. And we had here a +1. So with just a +1 counter trend, +1, we would be looking at targeting into the middle band. And this middle band is telling us, okay, once you get into the middle band, expect price to go back up, right? Because the middle band is showing strength to the upside here, the middle band. All right, so that trade. Unfortunately, we're not streaming and doing analysis every day, but you can and should be looking at your charts every day and looking for trades. Now, there is going to be an opportunity to take trades if you want to spend the time to kind of do scalping trades or shorter term trades, intraday trades. There is another opportunity. I have some charts that are being developed. If you have been with me through sessions much earlier, you know that we have a profile. So let me go ahead and add the profile here. That's a 62 profile. Okay. All right, so here's a 62 profile, and the profile, you can see we're looking at sequencing, 100% sequencing. Here we were in an up channel trend. The band in the middle was up channel, up band, and the profile was 100% sequence. That means the blue was over the red, was over the green, was over the brown. And so this kept confirming that price could be moving up slowly, 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 slowly. And we kept here. Price never really did anything. Now we see a move to the downside on this. Okay. And one other indicator that I will be showing you later on is this one. No. What did I do? I did something wrong here. Delete that. Close. And 65. Okay. So now you are going to, in the future, so stick with me. In the future, we'll be talking about these little arrows. We mentioned them prior. Now I've got them set up. And again, send an email to fxopabert@gmail.com and request my indicators, my zebra indicators for MT4. I do not have them available for other platforms. There's for the MT4 platform. And so what you're doing is you're looking at this, and I'll explain exactly how all of this fits together so that you can, in fact, use these as stop movements. You can see here, whenever you get that in, you move your stop. Here, this is telling me that at this level, I should consider maybe buying if my trend is correct, which it was. Here is another buy and it pulled back. So where do I put my stop? I look back for my last lowest pivot right here, et cetera, et cetera. So lots more to come. We had that potential pound that you should be watching. See if something comes with that. That's the end of our session today. And hopefully you got a lot out of this. And what we'll be doing is going in and giving more information so that you can improve your trading. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week on FX Street.